Peace and greetings, YouTubers. So there's a level of cant that exists, and I think I reached it a long time ago, but after witnessing this week of this new president and his administration, you know, the president that you were all so elated to elect in because you felt that because he was such a great businessman, he would get you back your 1971 assembly line factory jobs as if we're in an episode of All in the Family. And so, you know, you all elected him for that and everything else. And as I'm witnessing the atrocities that he's already committed in a week, I'm just like, this is going to be a long 4 years, allegedly. I just can't. I can't. What is going on? So now we're at a stage where, because the rest of the world, except for Europe and Australia and America and Canada, are so dangerous, and there's just so much going on, especially in the Middle East. You know, it's just things are so out of control. We need to ban people from 7 countries for the next 90 days just to make sure that we're safe. You know, that's the narrative that's been put out. So Trump has decided he's banning, you know, people from 7 majority Muslim countries from even entering the U.S. because they need to do some extreme vetting to make sure they know who's coming into the country. And I think that's a very foolish and stupid thing to do. And once again, it just goes to show, like, Americans do not take accountability for anything. Americans can go and terrorize the whole world. They can bomb all kinds of people. They can corrupt governments. They can exploit people. They can steal resources. They can do all of that. But they love to play the lane of we're afraid of everything. Everybody's out to get us. Even though America as a country has went and committed so many obstructions and atrocities that we've created an environment for terrorism. And now that people are seeing America for what it is, we want to run and be afraid, and we want to do all these different things because now we recognize that people don't like us as a country. Well, y'all, not me. I just live here. I'm just collateral for whatever happens. But people don't like America, and we still will not take that accountability on why. And so I think that really is something that Americans need to do for themselves. Americans need to get over themselves. Nobody's thinking about America more than America thinks about themselves. America's under this impression that everybody else who's not in Europe or Europe or Canada or Australia or parts of the Western Hemisphere, everybody's under the impression that the other people in the rest of the world, they wake up every day thinking of how can they destroy America. They wake up every day thinking of how can they destroy Christian Americans. They wake up every day hating that Americans have freedom and they want it so bad, so they're going to kill us to get it. Like, that's what a lot of Americans really walk around thinking. And I'm just like, I need Americans to think outside of the lens that we've been spoon-fed from our media and our K-12 curriculum and just even our politicians. Like, there's an element of fear-mongering that goes on, and that's what gets Americans into a position where Americans are so afraid of everybody, and they're so blindly patriotic, and they will align with anything the president does as long as he's not black. So, you know, when I look at what's going on with the Muslim ban, what's most disturbing is a lot of the people, mind you, this is 134 million people that are currently banned from entering the country for the next 90 days. Okay, so these are students, these are diplomats, these are scientists, there's tons of people who do a lot of work within our country and they're traveling back and forth and everything like that. You know, they're bicontinental. And, you know, all of those people are currently banned. You know, even if they own property here, if they live here, too bad, you're not coming in. If you're over there and the ban was signed, too bad, you just out of luck. So this means students that are in college, they're out of luck. This means if somebody has a relative that's dying and maybe at the moment they were in Yemen to go visit some family and now they need to get back here to their family that lives here, they can't get in the country. Too bad. You just have to sit there and unfortunately your wife died, so too bad. Sorry. We just got to vet for 90 days. We don't know if you're a terrorist or not. You know, we know you're a diplomat, but we don't know if you're a terrorist. And what's funny is when you look at these 7 countries, since 1975, there has not been a single act of terrorism that has killed any Americans on American soil from any foreign nationals from any of those 7 countries. However, those are the 7 countries they decided to ban, even though they skipped Saudi Arabia, which allegedly was the country where all the 9/11 terrorists were, if you buy into the 9/11 thing. And so I just find it funny, and what I notice is a lot of the countries that people would have thought would have been on the list are not on the list. And they're not on the list because they all have business dealings with your current president, whom you all elected. And so I just need Americans to recognize, like, things are not the way that they're put to us, and we need to kind of wake up and recognize it. In order for there to be an environment of stability and peace, everybody has to think from a global lens, and we are a very nationalist country. Well, it's not, okay, I talk about race a lot on this channel, so y'all have to get over it, but honestly, it's white people. Okay, black people, we ain't thinking about y'all across the water. Nobody's thinking about what's going on over there. The Latino community has their own thing going on. The Asian community pretty much built their own country in our country, and they just exist and don't want to be bothered by anybody. And the Native Americans don't F with y'all at all. So white people, that's y'all that are so afraid of all these terrorists coming in and everything else like that. Y'all put that narrative in, that element of white fear. has created an environment where everybody is so afraid of what's going on. And when you look at the terrorism and everything like that people are so afraid of, it's always the people who live in the most rural, way out in the middle of nowhere, missile can't even get to your town anyway type of place that are the most fearful of terrorism. And so it's somebody who's like in Billings, Montana, afraid of what's going on in Syria. First of all, Billings, Montana, nobody's going all the way out there. Y'all in the mountains, the air's too thin, nobody's going over there. Even if North Korea shot a missile, it's not reaching Billings, Montana, okay? Maybe if you're in Seattle, you could have something to be worried about. Maybe if you're in LA, you could have something to be worried about. Nobody's going to Billings, Montana. Nobody is going to Iowa. What are they going to do? They're going to blow up a cornfield? Okay, we might not eat for a week, but we'll be all right. Nobody's blowing up anything in Iowa. Nobody's blowing up anything in Kentucky. Nobody's blowing up anything in North Dakota. Okay, y'all don't even have Mount Rushmore in North Dakota, okay? At least South Dakota got a mountain to worry about. You're like, that's literally the narrative that's out there, and there's this extreme fear of Muslims, and I see it all the time with when I go home to visit my parents, and I just see some of their friends who are like super patriotic, and I just hear the conversations that come, and people really think that when you step outside the U.S. and you go to these places in the Middle East, that it's just this evil, war-torn area, and everybody's a bad guy. We have this whole good guy, bad guy mentality. Like, we're the good guys, they're the bad guys. But then when you look at the history of the atrocities that America as a whole has committed, I question who's really the bad guy. And again, I'm not really patriotic, so y'all have to get over it. You can call me treasonous, whatever, I really don't care. But, you know, since 1950, the United States has bombed 32 different countries. 32 different countries. Just to kind of show you how much that is, there's 35 countries in North and South America combined. So that would be the equivalent of us bombing all of North and South America minus 3 countries. That's how many people we've bombed, and that accounts for millions of people that have been killed. Okay, and that doesn't even account for the leaders that we've assassinated, the governments that we've infiltrated and corrupted, the resources we've stolen, the countries we've exploited. Like, we are responsible for the blood of millions as a country. And even though we may not necessarily be the ones directly going and shooting and bombing people, our tax dollars are going to that. We're voting in politicians who endorse that. You know, we stay silent. We don't fight. We don't speak for the small guy. And basically, because America has created an environment where we have to constantly be on the aggressive in order to not be attacked now because the world hates us, now we want to sit here and play victim based off of things that we've done. You know, everything that's going on in the world is reactionary to something we've already done. If you go back to the 50s and the 60s, Iraq and Iran and Syria and all that, none of that stuff was really going on. The only thing I can think of in the Middle East that would have been going on in the 60s or even back in the 40s would have been Palestine and Israel, which is another conversation, but I'm not doing it today. I'm not. But, you know, as far as the Iraqs and the Irans and Libyas and everything that we know, they all became destabilized after we went and killed their leaders, or after we went and bombed them, or after we went and destroyed their infrastructure, or after we went and destroyed their government, and then we just tipped out. Or maybe we tried to take the oil and it didn't work, and then we tipped out. And so now you're looking at the long-term residual effects of policies and actions that we've done. And now we want to blame them for being mad. And so, like, I hate terms like radicalized, and they always talk about, oh, radical Islamic terror or extreme Islamic terrorism and this, that, and the third. There's no, like, that doesn't exist. The reason that there is an element of radicals or extremists are because you've killed these people's families. You've destroyed everything they've ever had. If you look, nobody in Iraq in 1910, if Iraq was a country at that time, I don't know, I think the borders and stuff had changed by then. Nobody in 1910 was thinking about destroying America, because why? We didn't do anything over there. It wasn't until we went over there bombing up stuff. And then, like, something like ISIS and all this stuff, I'm like, where did all of ISIS's weapons come from? Most of the weapons and the stuff that they used came from the weapons that we left in Iraq when we left. We didn't take our stuff back when we came back. We tipped out, we're out, and all those weapons and all kind of stuff was just kind of laying around, and people took it and they used it and said, okay, now we have an element of power. We have nothing else. You bombed our entire country. Our schools are shit now. We don't have hospitals. We don't have a way of living. The only thing that we can do at this point is to go grab a gun, and we're going to have to use force in order to get what it is that we need to survive. And mind you, not to go there, our government is funding ISIS, so I don't know why we're trying to sit here and be afraid. Like, I don't buy into a lot of what's told to us when it comes to terrorism and what people are after, because I don't put anything past this country. And seeing that now you have this lunatic who's in charge, I really don't put anything past this country. And so I think it's very foolish to ban a group of people based on their religion from entering the country. All that does is it stirs the environment for more things to happen. If you don't want there to be these alleged terrorist attacks on our soil, if you don't want there to be a world of animosity where you can't travel to certain places, like, it's to the point where when we do international travel, we're told not to tell people that we're American. Why do you think that is? It's not because they're all terrorists, but people know America is a country that they poke the stick at people all the time, and people are sick of our shit. And so for your own safety, when you travel outside of the United States, you're not even supposed to tell people you're an American for your own safety. This is the world that we've created for ourselves. So America's downfall will be America. And so I'm hoping that Americans can wake the fuck up and honestly look at themselves and reflect on what's going on. Your job should just be to worry about taking care of your family and being great and doing what it is that you need to do to be happy and successful. Stop worrying about everybody else in the world and what they're going to allegedly do. If you want to help people in the world, beautiful, but you shouldn't be vilifying people and constantly going after them and supporting wars and drone strikes and everything else like that. Because really, I think the world would be a lot different if everybody could speak the same language. Things would be a lot different because one, there's not the language barrier and there's not that element of confusion. And that element of fear kind of gets eased because now everybody's on the same page as far as linguistics and everything. But so I think the element of language scares people. And then because one, people are racist as hell anyway, and you got the element of people being xenophobic and everything like that, and the nationalist ideology, all of that contributes to this environment of just toxic vibes that people have at the moment. But I'm like, if you want to feel safe in your country, stop electing people that want to go to war with everybody. I don't know why John McCain is still in office. Like, John McCain wants to fight everybody. I told you, John McCain if he could send troops to a fight at Starbucks, he would. Like, y'all are going to have to understand that in order to kind of heal what's going on around the world, one, America needs to get over themselves. America needs to stop dipping and dabbing into what's going on around the world, because really what we're doing is all these places that we keep trying to go and poke sticks at usually have something that we want. We are going to have to honestly just stop. You know what I mean? Just take care. Trump is talking about America first. Well, if America's first, take care of America. Take care of your citizens. Take care of people who are starving. Take care of the people who can't afford to go to college. Take care of the people who can't pay, But then again, y'all don't want government in your lives, so you're not a fan of anything with big government. So that means never mind about taking care of your actual citizens. Y'all just want to pull yourselves up by the bootstraps, even though you in a double wide trailer struggling like everybody else, but you think that you've made it. Gotcha. Anyway, hopefully this doesn't amount to something worse, because I think we are already on shaky ground with places like Iran and some of the other places. And when you do something like ban 134 million people, it's only going to lead to, it's like a domino effect. So hopefully it doesn't amount to something else, because I'm telling you right now, y'all instate the draft if you want to. I ain't going to fight for nothing. I'm not taking a single bullet for this country. I refuse. So, yeah, it is what it is. Share your 2 cents. I know you patriotic people are calling me all kind of niggas and everything else. That's fine. Y'all, whatever. Enjoy your president that you elected, and I can't wait to watch the job market start crashing in about 8 more months. But carry on. All right, I'm out.